Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Alexander, principal of Indian Springs Middle School. Glad to see everybody. Hope everybody had a great day today. Nice chilly day when we woke up this morning, and as we started our day, as we're going into our Thanksgiving week, we're looking forward to see the kids this week. We're at the beginning of the third 6 week started today. Report cards will be mailed out on this Thursday. On the 19th, we'll mail out the report cards. The what we're trying to emphasize this year is the progress reports that are between each 6 weeks. Is that we'll use Parent Portal to communicate progress reports to all parents through Parent Portal. All report cards will be mailed out each 6 weeks, so we will make those official. Report cards will be mailed out. We started a new process of communicating with parents of any students that are failing prior to the 6 weeks ending, to making sure that parents have the opportunity to know what their grades are for their students. So we started that process and started that out this last week to try to communicate that more effectively and efficiently. Once we found out there was a new way to be able to communicate that to inform the parents, because the students knew, but we just didn't always have the capability at that time. But we did find out how to do that, so we're thankful for that. Also, we're able to see student pictures. We got that finally uploaded in our database to be able to see when we do student pictures with Life Touch. We'll have another round of spring pictures coming back after the holiday break. We'll have that going too for the kids that was working remotely. So again, we had new students returning back to us. They had instructional choice students that came back. So we was looking forward to seeing our students as they come back. What we're going to do now is go ahead and get to the agenda for today. Mr. Cheatham and I will be moderating the Cdmc meeting today. I'll start off with the first few bullet points, and then Mr. Cheatham will close out at the end. What I want to talk to you about is attendance. Attendance has been quite a challenge this year. We started off, approximately around 70. Now we're about close to about 80, 81%. We're working on that each and every day to try to get better with our process and with our system to try to streamline those processes, because what makes it challenging is that students that are still remote and students face to face, teachers have to correct attendance every single day once they find out that students are logged in and that they're working remotely, to go back in and do attendance corrections on those students each day. What the challenging part is, the students have that day to finish work, complete work, but also they have to log into Canvas, and they have to log into each class period for each day to be able to get properly coded for attendance. And they also have to be able to complete their work at the same time. So we're trying to do two things at once to try to monitor their attendance, monitor their grades. We also put in a recovery plan for students, of any students that are failing 4 to 6 weeks. Within each 6 weeks, they have 2 weeks within the beginning of the 6 weeks to make up any work or make up work. We also instituted with the recovery plan is that we put in mandatory tutorials for students that have failed to make up work, and also get extra assistance on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we've been communicating that to parents and families, that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that any students that are failing, they have the opportunity for mandatory tutorials to on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30. So we have put those two policies in place to try to capture kids, to try to do a whole lot better, because the first 6 weeks was a lot. We had a lot of kids that did not even come close to meeting the standard that we set for our kids, and the excellence that we have, or we committed to this work. We had approximately 264 students that did not meet the standard. That's close to 50% of our kids that failed one or more courses this first 6 weeks. We came back the second 6 weeks that ended on the 13th. We did a whole lot better. The students did a whole lot better. I think it was because of the communication of parents knowing that their kids were failing has really helped. Parents were calling, teachers were calling, students were calling, students were even emailing and say, hey, I need some help. I think that really helped the process a whole lot better for us the second 6 weeks. And that really, really improved student accountability and student achievement. We wind up doing a whole lot better, especially in sixth grade, seventh grade, and eighth grade. Each grade level did a whole lot better. We wind up having an 87% pass rate going into the second 6 weeks. That students did a whole lot better of closing out the 6 weeks and being responsible, being accountable. Because we always tell the kids about the guidelines that to success. We always tell them be prepared, be responsible, be respectful, and be safe. They did a whole lot better. And I was very proud of the kids and the commitment that they made, and also for the parents ensuring that the kids were going to do their work the second 6 weeks. And going into the third 6 weeks, well, in the January 15th is the 6 weeks for the third 6 weeks. So we're looking to carry that momentum into the third 6 weeks and continue to help kids and support them in everything that we possibly can. All right, the next thing I want to talk to you about was, let me get my notes. Okay, the failure rate. We talked about that just a little while ago. That our anchor is always to have less than 20% of our population. That's what we anchor on every 6 weeks, is to ensure that we are doing everything necessary to ensure that we achieve our standard. We want to make sure that that standard is even closer to 95 to 100 is what we shoot for each 6 weeks. But we're getting better. We put the recovery plan in place. We have the attendance plan for kids to make up work and also make up their attendance as well. So we have that in place. And then with the mandatory tutorials that help with grades and also will help with attendance. All right, on the recovery plan is we put that in already. That's in effect. Each teacher have communicated with their students, also with their parents. I communicate directly with in Blackboard, where I do a lot of my communication, because Blackboard is a way that we can streamline communication with texts and emails. It also does phone calls. And it does also in the web base. So it does a lot of different formats with one clear message that comes from the principal. Also, we'll also use our social media sites with Facebook. We'll use that to communicate our message. We also have a new communication system that we finally got worked out. It's called Parent Square. We won't go into that specifically tonight, but that's another form of communication that we use with kids and also with our parents as well. We did communicate that through Canvas as well for the kids, and also with Blackboard and Facebook. We have communicated the second 6 weeks expectations. So you should have got that communication. So hopefully all that communication, you're getting abundance of communication, so you know exactly what's going on at each time and the 6 weeks, so you clearly know when to check and monitor your students' grades. If you haven't downloaded Parent Portal, that is a great access to your children's attendance, also for their grades and also for discipline. It helps out a lot. Does anyone on here have Parent Portal? Have you used it?
Yes. I'm Artelius Rashaw's mother, Crystal. And yes, I do have a Parent Portal. But I know I'm getting comments from some teachers, not all teachers, that either stuff hasn't been updated or has not even put in yet. And like I've spoken with Travis earlier, and I'm a mother that takes schooling as number one priority, and I do have it set up as if my son has an absence or a tardy or even a grade below 70, I get emails. Like, I don't know if it's from the main teacher or if it's just because how I have it set up, but it's every day. Me and my son, we're going back and forth. We're even arguing. He tells me, Mom, I did my work, Mom. And I work overnight, so I am here during his school hours. So I see him, doing his stuff, but still it's like but every other day it's either he's absent or missing work. And I know he gets tired. I mean, everyone, with all this system, it is crazy. It is hard, for the students. And I, my son, he, not to making it, excuse, but he's in the 504 program. He needs this extra help. And
Yeah.
there is a lady that reached out to me that if he needed help, she can get him help. But my question to you, should I just take the setup as stop getting emails?
I, I
Stop
personally would
getting
change the
accessing?
settings in your
Yeah,
teams
that's what I was
just
thinking.
because that is a
It's
useful
overwhelming.
feature in a normal year. But
Yeah.
with the settings for this year,
Yeah.
generally what teachers have to do when they're in person is mark a student as absent, and then they go back the next day and change it as remote.
Yes, they've said that. They've said
And
that.
so that can throw off that feature. And I think that might be one of the reasons.
Okay.
Although I will say, this is a message that I tell every parent is just making sure that your student is signing into every single class, every single day.
Okay.
Because that is an issue that we do see is we'll have students that are in most of their classes, but then they'll miss one. And that's a remote learning issue. Obviously, if they come in person, they shouldn't be missing a single class.
Exactly.
Yep.
He did go the second 6 weeks, and
Right.
with one of the grade or two of the grades that he was failing, he brought him up like more than 10
Yeah.
points. So I know it's the remote learning that's, it's throwing him off a lot. But I'd rather keep him safe than sorry. And again, I do thank everyone that does reach out, because it's crazy with lives going on and everything. It is hard. And I just wanted to, try to make it easier for me and him so we both can understand,
Right.
everybody is still trying to work this program.
Right.
But as long as he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, because he did go the second 6 weeks, so he should know what to log into,
Exactly.
what to do this and that. Exactly. So he should know more than me. But okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what Travis and I for is to make sure that parents and families have direct access to the teachers. Excuse me, that and phone numbers, contact information. Because like for me, we work pretty much sun up to sundown is what it feels like since we've been in this pandemic. Travis is working overtime. I'm working overtime. But that's part of our job. That's part of what we signed up for, to do what's best for the kids and the families. And this is our community, and we want to make sure that this community is stronger than ever, to make sure that we support our young people for this, for this new global society. So it takes all of us working together side by side to support the kids. So, like for us, we're a phone call away, or just, email us or text us, whatever case may be. We'll respond back. If I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer, or I'll get with Travis, he'll come to me, or I'll get with Mr. or Mindy, which is our campus technologist. We'll try to figure out what the processes are, what we need to talk to, if we need to talk to a kid or we need to talk to the teacher, to try to figure out what the problem is and what we can do, try to make it better. We even instituted Canvas to try to streamline the Canvas dashboard for teachers, to try to talk to them about, hey, simplify these assignments for the kids. They're doing too much. Slow it down, simplify the assignment. We went through that process the second 6 weeks. We also went through videos, uploading videos and Zooms for the second 6 weeks to continue that process, because kids were falling behind. So we had to put in instructional videos for the kids, also for parents. This is a whole new state of curriculum that's new for all of us. So this stuff that they're doing now, I didn't do until I got to high school.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Babies are learning stuff that we did 10, 15 years ago. They're doing it now. And some of the stuff that we did, I didn't get to until we got to college. And it's that tough for the kids. They have to be able to keep up each and every day. It's a lot easier if they're face to face, for sure. But if they're remote, that's a whole nother platform that kids happen to learn, even though we're giving them devices and they have hot spots and everything, but it's still something they never had to do since they pre-K all the way up. This is the first year that they ever had a device that's that is at their disposal. So yeah, it's a learning process even for the teachers this year, and so we're all learning this together. And that's the whole mantra that I had this second 6 weeks. Said, look, guys, we need to be humble. We need to have some grace. We need to be kind. We need to be respectful, because this is new for the kids. It's new for the parents. It's new for us.
Yes.
We need to learn together, and and what's the priority, and focus on the main thing, and that's teaching and learning, and make sure that we get these kids up to date as fast as we can. And give our kids the opportunity to learn and grow. I'm appreciative of the parents being patient with us, because it's a new process for us as well. So I just want to say thank you, for supporting us and helping us through this process. But we're here to do whatever it takes each and every day, and that's what we try to do every day, is to try to get better. That's what Travis and we stay up here probably the longest. And I talk to him all the time, or he'll come to me and say, "Hey, Mr. A, this ain't working. We need to look at it this way." And we kind of go back and forth about what needs to get better. It's about not getting it, and that's how it is for me. It's not personal, it's business. We got to take care of the business of kids. And if it's not working, we need to adjust and we need to change. And that's what we've been working on. It's just trying to get better every day.
Okay.
All right. Yes, ma'am. I think my part, the tutorials, I talked about that. Instructional changes. I think that's all. Travis, you want me to talk about COVID or technology? You have that part, right?
I can hop in.
Okay.
I was just going to say, in terms of instructional choice, kind of like everything else, we very much acknowledge this is not a normal year. We need to embrace the facts that this is not a normal year. Attendance doesn't look the same, grades don't look the same. A lot of things are challenges. And so with instructional choice, what we are currently doing is, if somebody wants to come back to campus, even if it's not the Waco ISD deadline, what we want you to do is contact a receptionist. She'll work out a time to be able to come, just confirm those details, and then we'll set a date for your student to come back. And so we're trying to be very flexible. Again, we know it's a weird year. And so allowing people to come and go a little bit more often. We still don't want people to go back and forth, because that's not going to be helpful for students. But we're trying to be as flexible with a lot of these things as we can be.
Travis.
Yes.
When you say that, so the student can come back to school for that day, or whatever days they pick and choose. Like, say if AJ goes to school tomorrow, but yet don't want to go to school the next day, but yet goes to school the next day, like pick and choose type thing. No.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't think that's really going to be beneficial for students. Things do come up. And one thing I kind of joke about is, I don't know if there's almost such thing as an excused absence anymore, because a student can, work from anywhere. You could be in Japan and do your work for class.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, there are going to be those times where, like, a student is really sick and like they're out of it, they can't do their work. Yeah, there's still an excused absence. But the biggest things we want to make sure students do their work, they sign in, that process.
Okay, so it's not really going to be like a pick and choose. Like, say for instance, a lot of the kids that are like having trouble or failing, they should be the ones to be able to
back.
get to school,
Mm-hmm.
get to school, other than the ones that are like, not saying the mothers don't want them home, but just saying, just send them to school, just
I understand what you're saying.
even though they're passing. It will give the ones that aren't, that really do need the help, that are in 504 programs or whatever, be able to have, the first choice. But that's my opinion on that.
Right.
But y'all do not
be flexible.
So if somebody's going to change their choice, we want them really to stick with that choice and to let us know about it.
Okay.
But if at any point a student is kept home, they need to make sure they do their work and sign.
Yes.
We can't stop a family really if they suddenly keep their kids home, but that's still going to accumulate absences if they don't do their work and sign in for each of their classes.
So as of right now, the kids can go back to school as long as I do the process.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to do the district process right now where you have to wait 6 weeks.
Yes, sir.
To be able to change your choice.
Yes, sir.
We want to do it faster, but we still, the biggest thing is checking with the receptionist and kind of arranging a time to come back.
All right. Thank you.
For COVID, the biggest things, there's two main aspects that I just try to tell families. One, if your kid doesn't feel well, it's not the time to just send them to school. If they're feeling sick, take precautions, keep them home, have them do their work at home. You can pay attention to COVID symptoms and all of that. If your kid has allergies, and it's the exact same as it always is, that's one thing. But if you're hitting 2 or 3, similar COVID symptoms, keep your kid home, have them do their work there. The second one is within 2 weeks. So today is the 16th. If since November 2nd, you know that, or your child knows that they've encountered somebody that has a positive COVID case, within 2 weeks, we request that you keep your kids home. So a positive case that they've had direct contact, which we define as 6 feet or less with 15 or more minutes in that day, then we request that you keep your kid home. That's what the CDC defines as direct contact and the potential exposure. And so that's one of the reasons why students get quarantined, why staff gets quarantined, is if we can determine those things. So that's what we request from families. Definitely something to keep in mind for after Thanksgiving. That Monday afterwards, we're going to really try to push, or the Sunday night before, hey, have one of these things happened? How's your kid feel? So that way Monday isn't a total mess with people coming back and forth. Morning drop-offs. The main thing in terms of our policy, there's 3 parts to it. If the weather feels like it's below 40, if we have sustained high winds, or it is actively raining, that's when we're going to let students in at 8 o'clock instead of at 8:15, 8:20. The hardest thing for us is having appropriate staffing this year. And so it's not that we wouldn't want to have kids in, but if we can't supervise them while we let them into the building, that creates its own problems. And so that's the policy we've currently determined. If one of those 3 conditions is met, then we're going to be letting kids in at 8 o'clock. It's still the best idea to drop kids off at 8:15 or between 8:15 and 8:30, which most of our parents have done a great job of, but just a reminder as far as what our weather policy is. I don't have anything for the next 2, Mr. Alexander, on PBIS rewards and the CIP/CNA. Do you want to cover that, or do you want me to go ahead and do
I'll
that?
cover it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get into, give me a sec.
Excuse me, Mr. Cheatham, could I say something for a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I was just listening to you about the kids being out for the Thanksgiving holiday and coming back for COVID.
Mhm.
And I know you all had testing up there. I
Yes.
would really encourage parents to have their kids tested, period, because I was doing a lot of precautions on my own kids.
Mhm.
Caught myself doing everything right. Mask, social distance, tell them every day. But there was a slip up of symptoms that, if you have a kid playing sports, you didn't know about, or I didn't pay attention, thought he had was sore from playing basketball. And so if a parent could, they really, regardless, take advantage of the testing and everything. It's like a crying that you hate to see your child sick and not be able to do anything for them. And so we all go through things like that. So I'm kind of, I can be a witness for that part. And so our minds are doing, when you have to be quarantined and all of that, and the school is doing everything that they could do for them, but it's not your school, it's another campus that, you have a big crowd that's walking around and everything. So there's some symptoms that I didn't pay attention, but I was treating it, but it wasn't from playing basketball of the sort. So I really would encourage any parents to have their kids tested.
I appreciate you mentioned that, Ms. Thompson. And just a clarification for everybody, I appreciate you being candid about that and sharing about your personal experience. That experience was based off of a high school athlete, just so everyone knows that's not a middle school athlete.
Right, it's high school.
Mm-hmm.
You all have been doing everything right. The kids, my other one there, she's, she do what she's supposed to do, but it's just some symptoms that I wasn't aware of, thinking it was something else.
Yeah, that's why we try to communicate that to parents and families school-wide so they can know what the symptoms or what to look for. This is something I had never had to deal with. You know, it's every day looking at kids, checking kids. You know, this is I don't know. I don't know. It's very every day. You know, for our kids, for our campus, the staff, parents, the family, you know, the community, just to continue to keep doing right by the kids and keeping them safe and trying to keep them. The hardest thing is keeping them social distance, and that's the hardest thing known to man. Trying to keep kids from interacting with each other. They're like us. They like people, you know. So that's their peer group. So you know, keeping them to back up all day long is what it feels like.
Get them to do their work online. You know, they don't feel like it, but
yeah,
you got to do that too.
Yeah, it's definitely a year, you know. So we're just trying to do what we can and do what's best. You know, so you know, like meetings like this helps us to adjust and to listen and make better, you know, make better decisions because you know you can't make decisions in isolation. It takes everybody, you know, working together and helping each other. So, all right, the next part that I have.
Can I give a quick caveat on that? I was going to point out for anybody who's not familiar with it, if you go to a website, covidwaco.com, I'll really quickly share my screen here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the website for covidwaco.com. You click on testing, and then it comes to this page and it gives all the options for free testing in Waco. It's a really great option. You do have to register in advance for most of these anymore. One big positive is you can see it says note all tests are saliva tests. Most, pretty much all of them lately have been saliva based. And so you can see all of these free testing sites. This goes all the way through up to Monday, November 30th. So there's one next Wednesday. I haven't heard of any in between, but they do add new dates all the time. So this is a great tool for any time you need to get testing to visit this website. If I hear of any others, I do plan to post any on Facebook as we get closer to the end of the Thanksgiving break.
Like I say, even the parents to get tested, not the kids. Everybody in the house.
All right, that's all I had, Mr. Alexander. Okay. If you wanted to do PBIS and the CIP.
Yeah, I'll go to PBIS and then close out. Let me share my screen. This is one of the, this is our campus needs assessment, which is part of our CIP, which is our campus improvement plan. We have to revise it every year and create a plan every year. It addresses these 8 components, and these are the needs that we address in each part of this living working document. We use it to make our decisions on how we spend our funding when it comes to Title I, how we use our state comp money, which is our state money that we get from the federal government, federal and state government. So that has a big part. Even there's a component for family engagement. So you can see that the different components that we have to govern in this document. We have to talk about demographics. Our campus right now is that we're 69% Hispanic and we're 25% African American, and then we're about another 5% Anglo. And then we get into student achievement. This is our STAR test, and this is how the state looks at our accountability. Right now, we're still counted. Our accountability is a C right now, so that's kind of how we look at it. You know, looking at those benchmarks, looking at those targets. Every test that we go back and look at, we look at the demographics, look at the subgroups, we even get identified for economically disadvantaged. So that all counts in there as well. In our at-risk population, that, you know, eco is around 96%, which is the number of kids that have free and reduced lunch. And then we have 90% of our kids are at risk of one or more indicator of school failure or dropping out. So we get, you know, that's something else that we monitor too, is at risk in our population, those different indicators that we mark, that we have to identify and that we have to monitor for each student. And then also our school culture is part of it, the climate with our student and school staff, our surveys that comes back to us regarding if kids feel safe, staff feel safe, what's the atmosphere, what's the environment in our culture. within our campus, our staff quality, our recruitment, our retention of our staff, but also the diversity of our staff is part of that too, is the quality and how we recruit staff, replace staff. Curriculum and instruction is how we look at our state curriculum and our student expectations, and then the assessments that we give to students. And then our part here is where Mr. Travis' part is parent and family engagement. There's another part in there that we also work on throughout the year, and this is one of them. And then school context is the organization of master schedule or bell schedule, how we look at our school context and the organization, and how we broke it down by our grade levels. And then our technology, like what we're in now, is what you're seeing every single day. So that's part of the our plan. One of the other things that I wanted to finish up on was to talk to y'all about a new initiative that we have that Ms. Hardeman is leading the way for PBIS rewards. This is another incentive that we have for kids in regarding giving kids a management system that we use that for the students and also for the staff that reward kids. And we have set up our school store, set up incentives for the kids and rewarding kids based on their student ID, on their ID cards. So we're working really hard this year to make sure that kids wear their ID cards every single day. We had a whole bunch of them today that felt like school was over, had to get corrected on their ID cards. We wear them every single day. And that's how we reward the kids and provide those incentives. And that's part of the program that we use school-wide. So really, that's about all that I have to say. Is there anybody else that have any questions or anything?
I was just going to add on there, I just put in our chat box, our community needs assessments form. That's what I'm going to use to help develop our family engagement committee. I had hoped to get that started by now, but it just has not been a possibility so far.
You have to sign in, Travis?
I did not do a formal sign in. I will do it based off of the recording.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll pull it from there.
All right. No problem. All right. Okay, I believe that's all. If there's anything else, you can contact me directly by email, or you can call me at my phone. So if there's anything else, just let us know what we can do to help you. You can contact me directly or contact Mr. Cheetah. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for the support and letting us know what we're doing right. Hopefully the communication, you're getting all the communication. Sometimes we feel like we over communicate, but I'd rather over communicate than not communicate at all. To try to make sure that the parents understand what's going on and what's going on in the school. When tomorrow's our student Turkey Day, they usually love Turkey Day. So hopefully that'll be a great day for them. And also for us, and then wrapping up on Friday, and then all next week, the kids are out of school from through the 27th, so November 23rd through 27th. The kids will come back to us on November 30th. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being flexible this year, being patient, and showing us humility and showing us grace. And just thank you for your children and giving us the opportunity to serve your kids and help your kids to be the best that they possibly be. Again, if there's anything we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can call us or text us just like we do, y'all. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. That's what our job is here to help you and support you. Travis, is there anything for you?
Yeah, I always end up having more things. I'm going to try to blow through these. A note from our librarian. There's no personal devices allowed on campus. So if anybody's bringing their own laptop, we just found out it's not allowed to be on the district's network because there can be different sensitive issues, or that's easier for viruses and things like that to get on there. So just so everyone's aware. On Saturday, November 28th, one of our community partners is an organization called the New Black Collective. They're going to be doing a coat drive from 2 to 4 p.m. It's called Coats and Cocoa. So, let friends know that event is going to be happening in our parking lot. So it's going to be a drive-through line to get coats, and then they hand out cups of cocoa. Before it had been in our gym, but they're one of our great community partners. Again, the New Black Collective.
What day was that again, Travis?
Saturday, the 28th.
Okay.
One other thing with Parent Square, many of you have probably already gotten some messages. I haven't done an official launch with everybody because I'm trying to work out some kinks in the system. There's certain families that for some reason didn't sync properly, and so I'm getting that fixed. But we're going to try to actually send report cards that way. So if you happen to get the report card this week and it comes through Parent Square, let me know. I just like to hear, positive, negative of how things are going. We're hoping that essentially it's kind of like Remind, which we used in the spring. We're hoping that it will be a much more robust version of that. I do encourage you to download the app because there's certain features you can't get unless you use the app. Parents will still be able to receive messages, both by text and email, but they won't be able to access everything if they don't get the app. And again, that's called Parent Square, but I'll be announcing more details with that soon. Does anybody have any questions for us before we hop off?
All right. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Y'all have a
Thank you,
good
Mr.
night.
Yes, man. You too.